Ruben Amorim is gone. The experiment is over, and once again, Manchester United are looking for a saviour. Carrick has steadied the ship somewhat. Beating City was massive, but is he the man to lead us for the next 5 years, or is he just another Ole Gunnar Solskjaer waiting to happen? Today, we're ignoring the noise and ranking the real contenders, from the tactical genius of Nagelsmann and Tuchel to Premier League risks like Glasner and Iriola, and maybe even a couple of wildcards in there as well. But who are INEOS secretly watching? Who is in the top tier and who needs to get in the bin? Nick, Shreyas, join me. Lads, I'm going to ask you, but I don't want you to say the name out loud. Is there one name in your head that you were like, yes, that's the guy? Don't say it out loud, but are you open to multiple people? Nick?
Sean Dyche.
Right, okay. Big Sam, is that your answer, Shreyas?
Big Sam, Sean Dyche. Neil Warnock.
Alan Kirbishley. Back there.
Just get Ten Hag back,
Yeah.
Get to right, okay. So we're just going to go straight on. But yeah, seriously, is there a name, Nick, that comes to mind when you're like, I want that guy? Don't say it out loud, but is there one name, or are you open to...
I think, yeah, if it's like kind of gun to the head question, I think I'd have one. But it'd take a bit of pushing, if that makes sense.
Right. Shreyas, I'm going to guess there is one name because I think we've got the same name.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Should we get cracking with the knacking, as they say?
Cracking with the knacking. Wow.
I'm going to save a couple of the big names for later. So let's start somewhere in the mid tier. Marco Silva has been linked with us a couple of times. He's done a decent job at Fulham. Is quite fiery. Does like to fall out. Isn't willing to sign a new deal with Fulham as it stands. He's done a pretty good job with not sort of a lot of money and stuff. Nick, thoughts on Marco Silva?
Yeah, I do like him as a manager. I think he's ridiculously underrated. Like you said, with Fulham, the budget they've been playing with. When you're looking at the deals he's doing over the summer, you're looking at all these teams, even teams like Everton, who are a mid-table team, spending a decent amount of money. You're looking at Fulham, and they're spending. I think at the time when I looked, he brought in like a keeper, and he was like 400 grand or something. That was like the extent of their business, which is like crazy. So I think it's always good signs of a manager when they're working on a shoestring budget, like they can get the best out of them players, right? Because that is a manager's job to do that. The only thing I would struggle with a little bit is managing. He's never had experience managing a massive club. He's been at like Everton and Watford, and they're big in their own right, but they're not Manchester United. And also, I look at the way Thomas Frank's gone at Tottenham.
Yes.
And when you go from being that underdog manager to being the top dog almost at a big club, it's a completely different experiment, right? So for me, I don't know if are we rating him now or just giving opinions?
Well, just give your opinions and then we'll figure out where we're going to go.
So that's where I'm at.
Shreyas, is it too much of a step up? Does he need to go to a Villa, a Spurs, someone like that before he comes to United? Or do you think he's ready for that next jump?
I think it's too much of a step up because, again, not just the fact that he's been working with Fulham is the thing, but he's also not had the sort of exposure to working with big players and big talents in the form of Bruno being there or Casemiro being there, Amat, Cunha. So these are very bright talents. And at Fulham, he's always been operating with players who are, players like Raul Jimenez, or players like Iwobi, who they're solid players, but that, what their peak is. And he's been able to get the best out of them. He knows how to, fix them into his team in a, sort of way that they end up getting the goals for him. And I think he's been doing a, really good job at Fulham because in comparison to other teams, they haven't really spent anything this season. If you look at it, just a couple of players that they've brought in, and they're still in and around those, mid-table areas, not in a position where I would say that, they are fighting with relegation, which I would say is quite consistent for a manager at Fulham. So I think he's doing a good job there, but I just don't think that United is the right atmosphere for him because even at Fulham, he has had those periods where, it has been 6 or 7 losses or 6 or 7 bad results in a row. At Fulham, you can get off with it. That, then you've gotten a few draws, you're still afloat in that 11th or 12th area. You do that at United. Go on a run of 7 to 8 games with no wins or no good results for you to show for it. You're not going to make it till the end of the season in the job.
I agree. My thinking is not quite there yet, Nick, in the tier list. I don't know where you're thinking. You want to go higher?
I need to give these a good look. We've got
So
get him
you've
in.
got get him in, good choice, might be good, not quite there, you're in the bin.
Yeah, I think not quite there yet. I think, like Shreya said, I think you need a step in between, right, before you really, go to an Aston Villa, let's say, for example, or someone like that. That kind of size of club. See how you deal in Europe at times. Crystal Palace, maybe if Glasner goes. I think that'd be the right step for him.
Yeah,
personally.
I think if he goes to a club like that sort of level and does well, he could well move into. Might be good. He could well move into that. But right now, I think that's where he is. All right, let's go to the next one. Another Premier League guy. You've just mentioned him, Nick. Oliver Glasner. Mr. Glasner. Obviously, he's famously fell out with Crystal Palace. They're selling his best players from underneath him. He's just gone. Mateta wants out. They're suffering with Europa League football, Europa Conference football, but not got the squad to back it up. He plays a back three, and people are going on and on about that, but he has said that it's not his favourite thing. He likes to play 4-4-2, so he wouldn't play a back three necessarily at United. It's just he's playing that because of the necessity of the players. He's built Palace from a lower mid-table team into a genuine European contender, and he won a trophy for their first trophy in God knows how long. Clearly a really talented guy, did well at Frankfurt. Yeah, how do you feel about Glasner?
No, I think it's top, to be honest with you. I think he's ready to deal with anything coming his way. He seems to, up until recent kind of activities, I think he's handled himself really, really well. But you can't really blame him, to be honest with you. I feel like he's been really threw under a bus.
They've pulled the rug out, haven't they, from underneath him?
How can you expect someone to compete in Europe with such a small squad and no reinvestment? You can't say to a guy, "Oh, we're taking the captain, one of the best players at the club who's been there for years and has contributed significantly. Oh, he's going in January, and we're not really going to replace him. Oh, your striker who's a top striker, by the way, Mateta, in the league, who's got a decent amount of goals. He's going to go as well. They've already lost Eze. They lost Eze to Arsenal.
Eze, that's what I was going to say. Eze went.
It's outrageous. They are top Premier League players who you're losing, and they're probably going to look at it and go, you know what? We'll use it for most of our budget, put it in our pockets, and then we'll reinvest 10 million on another player who we might be able to build up. And you can never have continuity as a club. You can never strive for top places if you're going to be doing that. And that's probably why Glasner is where he's at. So, for me, I don't know, it's a tricky one, that. I'm kind of in between good choice and maybe good. Come back to me. I'll have a think.
Yeah. Shreyas, do you think because he hasn't been backed and he's actively being sort of roadblocked as it was by his best players himself, do you think if he was backed and he kept the likes of Eze, Guehi, Mateta, those kind of guys, do you think he could do a lot more with Palace and if he was backed and pushed them up the table?
I think he would, but again, that's a big speculation to make as well, considering, if players like Eze would have still stayed, Guehi would have still stayed, would Palace be in the conversation for top 6? I don't think so. Even with those players, they would get into top 6 right now. I think being in European football for the first time for Palace as a club is a big, big achievement in itself, but it has definitely taken a toll on them, getting that sort of experience, playing against other European opposition as well. It's it's a whole adventure in itself. So for me, I'm still not quite sold completely on Glasner. I think that, coming to United with the baggage and, again, with the limelight being on him, I'm not quite sure if he'll be able to take us through to the next mark. I think he's an exceptional manager, working with what he's got at Palace and then, going on the run that he did with them. I think it's a brilliant job that he's done, but for me, he's not quite there yet. I think, again, he needs to go somewhere where, I would say the pressure is as much, at least close to what it is like being at United. Because before this as well, I think he was at Frankfurt where he won the Europa League with them, did exceptionally well with them. So he's always been at those sort of clubs, if you can say, who tend to buy players cheap and sell them for big profits. Frankfurt are quite well known for doing that as well. Palace have been doing this now for quite some time as well. So he's not been at a club like United where, all the limelight is completely on the manager itself. So I just want him to, before United, he goes somewhere when a lot of eyeballs are on him, how well he reacts under that sort of pressure. If he can do that, I think tactically, he is a very sound manager, very adaptable and quite flexible in his formations and his systems as well. So tactically he's sound. I just don't know if he can handle the pressure quite right. So right now,
Yeah, it's a shame because he's like you said, he's been at two teams where they've had top players and then they've just been sold from underneath him, and he's not been able to sort of reinvest and sort of get and prove like if he is that good enough. And obviously, he's coming to Manchester United is a big ask. So Shreyas is saying not quite there yet. Nick, you were struggling between good choice and might be good. Should we put him in might be good then to just split the difference? Let's stick him
that's
in
the one
there.
I was going to go with.
Yeah,
I think
let's
probably
go with
right.
that. Okay, another Premier League guy, Adoni Iraola. Again, another guy who's took a Nick's favourite team in Bournemouth from relatively obscurity into potentially a European contender, play some excellent football. Really enjoy watching Bournemouth. Got some like random players that nobody's ever heard of, brought them into the team and turned them into superstars. Anton Semenyo has just gone to City. They sold Dean Huijsen to Real Madrid. They sold, was it Zanessi? What was the guy's name he sold to PSG? The defender.
Zabani, yeah.
Zabani sold Zabani to PSG. So, yeah, he's developed players and sold them on in a similar position to Glasner. They have had a bit of a wobble this season, but I think tactically, he is very, very flexible and he's very, very good at what he does. Like, is he above or below Glasner for you? Like, where does he fit?
It's interesting because Glasner's won a trophy and is currently in Europe, which is obviously super impressive. But I also think I did the same argument with Bruno Fernandes that when he performs in a shit United team and does the best regardless, that's almost as impressive, right? So Iraola doing what he's doing at Bournemouth with all his best players gone that you just alluded to on, I mean, again, a fourth of the budget that most teams were on.
Mm-hmm.
That is the sign of a good coach. A good coach gets the very best. Like from a formation standpoint, from how to use certain individuals, he does that down to a T. And I love the way Bournemouth are one of the best pressing teams, if not the best pressing team in the Premier League, the way he gets them running. So obviously you can kind of tell from that the players respect him and work for him. Whether or not the big step up again,
is it a bigger step up from Bournemouth United than Palace United?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Bournemouth have never won anything, right? They're regarded as a team who probably finished majority of the time they're bottom of the table, haven't got a huge fan base, and basically play the football at Butlins. But aside from that, I think it's a bigger step than it would be for Glasner. So if I'm putting Glasner in maybe good, maybe Iraola not quite there yet, but then I feel like people think I'm putting my nose, like looking down on my nose at him, which I'm not. But I just think like, where else is he managed? You know?
It's a risk. It's risk. Definitely. I think it's more of a risk than Glasner because, like Trey said, Glasner's managed. He's won 2 trophies. He's managed in Europe.
Exactly.
He's been across the world. So I think it's more of a risk. Not to say I don't like him, and I don't think he plays good football because he does. But yeah, are you similar thinking, Shreyas?
Yeah, I mean, I think Glasner is more established than him when it comes, when you have to look at it from a major competitions in Europe wise. But footballing wise, I would say he is probably the manager I would, that comes closest to the way I want United to play. Constantly pressing, constantly going after attack, after attack, after attack. And what we saw under Carrick, in that City game, he's someone who's emulated that at Bournemouth on a consistent basis, week in and week out. And last season as well, the way, Evan Nilsson, Semenyo, Kluivert, all of these, I think Kluivert scored around 17, 18 goals last year as well. He's got some very interesting players in his team, but the way he's, come about and made that team together, again, losing his entire backline this summer and then rebuilding that backline and then still playing the sort of football that Bournemouth play right now is commendable. But again, it's just too much of a jump, and at Bournemouth, he's had patches, where even though when they've been playing good football, results really haven't flown their way. I think even this season as well, right now, recently, they've, before that Spurs game, they were on a bit of a dull streak as well. So I'm not quite sure just right now. I think it's a very big jump, making it from Bournemouth to United, and especially without having any sort of European exposure.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. So will we go not quite there then yet? Because it feels like he should be in between, might be good and not quite there.
Yeah,
yet.
if there was a tier between might be good and I'd put in there. But I think,
cool.
Yeah. probably about
Let's
right.
stick him in there. Where should we go next? Let's go to Roberto De Zerbi. Obviously got Premier League experience, did really, really well with Brighton. Again, in a similar vein to Iraola and Glasnow, like selling their best players. Yeah, I think he was in a similar position, but yeah, he falls out with management and stuff like that. I feel like he's only got plan A as well. I feel like there isn't that flexibility. He plays his way and his way only. What do you think, Nick? Do you think he could work at United?
I mean, we've had stubbornness seems to be a theme with every manager, right? Whether it's Ruben Amorim, notoriously stubborn with his system. Ten Hag, no, this will work. Like, it seems like every coach has, until Carrick's coming in. He's kind of like played 4 games against top managers and been adaptable each time. And you're like, there's nothing wrong with being adaptable. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. Whilst maintaining, similar principles as a coach. De Zerbi, for me, I think he did really well at Brighton. The brand of football that he played was really, really good. I mean, the way Pep Guardiola spoke about him, the build-up in particular from the back, the box build-up with the centre-backs and the midfield players, and even the players that he improved as well in, like, you mentioned McAllister, Caicedo, Cucurella, Ben White, all these players. Another sign of a fantastic coach. I'd actually put him a little bit above the managers that we've spoken about, because there's something about him that I just
good
think...
choice.
Yeah, and I think he's got the steel to deal with United. I feel like Ruben Amorim as a coach was very emotional and very open, and I know De Zerbi's very emotional, but he's got that bit of fight as well about him, where he'll fire back at the media, or do you know what I'm saying? He'll get the players on his side. So I think it'd be a better option for me personally. I think De Zerbi's a good choice personally.
Where would you put him, Shrez? Is he too fiery? Is he gonna kick off with the INEOS? We've seen Amorim obviously have a go at him and stuff like that. Is he gonna be too much of a loose cannon?
I think that's one of the major reasons INEOS won't look at him, personally, because again, his football style is again quite chaotic. The way he makes Marseille play as well, it's quite attacking, but at the same time, it's very chaotic. That seems to work in his favor. I think he did a brilliant job at Brighton. Got some very decent results against very decent oppositions as well. But I just think that, because of how he carries himself and his personality, of if he's not backed well, if he doesn't feel satisfied when it comes to him building his squad, and then him not receiving support from the management, he seems to fire back a lot. He's done it a lot of times at Marseille as well. That's one of the major reasons Rabiot had left and moved to Milan this season, even though he did quite well there at Marseille. So I just think that INEOS wouldn't go toward De Zerbi, but if, again, he was brought in, I think he would be a good choice, because he does have Prem experience, and he also has European experience, and he seems to have that sort of bite. Whenever he's on the field and his teams, they do seem to have that sort of bite.
Okay, just to add on to that as well, very, very quickly. Sorry.
Yep.
Don't forget as well, a lot of links in France with INEOS, because obviously you've got, I think Ratcliffe's based in Monaco anyway, right?
Yep.
You've got,
Yep.
obviously he's got a team in Nice at the minute. He knows a lot of the directors there. He knows a lot of, so as a networking option, De Zerbi would be someone they probably know more about than some of the others, I would suggest. I don't know that for a fact, but just throwing it out there.
Yeah. So where are we putting him? We're putting him in good choice?
Yeah. I think
so.
it's a good choice personally.
Yeah.
Okay, let's stick him in there. I'd put him in might be good personally, just because that fiery, and I think he might kick off and cause issues. But that I'm outvoted at that point. Let's go on to another young foreign manager, Francesco Farioli at FC Porto. I've got to admit, I don't know much about the guy. I think his record at Porto is 29 games, 25 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses, which, I mean, is pretty decent, but it's obviously a shorter sort of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Example period. He's got 56% win rate. He's managed at Ajax, he's managed at Nice. So he's been across Europe and stuff like that. He's very young, he's 36. He's very young for a manager. This seems to me like a Ruben Amorim 2.0 to me, Nick. What do you think?
Yeah, it's PTSD in it. Portuguese PTSD is what I'm getting. If it's players, absolutely all over it. Nane, Bruno, Ronaldo, sweet. If it's managers, not so good. And I think it's like it's too soon in it for fans to be like, oh, by the way, guys, we're bringing in another manager from Portugal who has done really well at the one club he's been at, but then has no experience in, whatever it is, cup finals or, in the Premier League. So again, I'd have to really watch his brand of football. That might convince me a little bit more.
He plays 4-3-3, if that helps you.
I mean, yeah, but a million managers play 4-3-3 in the dog shit, so it means almost nothing to me that. Not quite there yet. Or in the bin for me, probably, at the minute.
In the bin? Wow.
Yeah.
All right, Shreyas, how do you feel about Farioli?
In the bin because he was one of the managers INEOS fired at Nice.
Yeah,
so
he was.
He's never going to be even considered for the United job in the bin.
Yeah.
All right, he's going in the bin. There we go. Let's move on to Niko Kovac at Borussia Dortmund. This link was recent, actually. I am not the biggest fan of his. I think he's done all right. He went to Bayern, came back to Dortmund. He seems like a middling manager. Like, seems okay, but I think you need something special at United. I think you need somebody to with personality, with an extremely attacking, well-developed football. For me, he's just not the guy. So I would put him in a bin or not quite there yet. I just don't think he's the right choice in my opinion. But Nick,
the reason why I wouldn't put him in the bin is I think you still have to. He's got a respectable record. I think he's won the league title and a cup, right? Which
I mean, if you manage Bayern and you don't win the league, then yeah,
I get it. But you still have to get it over the line. I mean, even cups as well. Like, you're still playing oppositions. You still have to know how to manage a team to a certain level, right? I think his points per game record isn't too shabby. It's not too bad, but it's kind of like, I don't know. You have to think from a perspective of what's going to grab the fans, what's going to get us out of our seat and be we'll get behind this manager. It's not him.
Is it?
If that got announced tomorrow, you can't tell me United fans will be all over it and be like, oh, what a shrewd appointment.
It'd be like, the feeling to me, I'd be like, that'd be what I'd feel.
I think he's a decent-ish manager, but then, do you know what? I watched Dortmund against Tottenham the other day. Oh, mate, it was awful. And we know how bad Tottenham's been in the Premier League.
Yeah.
If you can't outcoach a team to beat a team at home who have been diabolical all season and have super low confidence, the manager's about to be sacked. Question marks. I'm going to start firing. So I don't think his stock is very high at the minute. But I won't put him in the bin. I'd put not quite there yet.
Trez?
Yeah, again, he has pretty much one style of playing, and if that doesn't work, he's out of ideas. I think he's redeemed himself a bit at Dortmund because before that at Wolfsburg he was atrocious. He had a very bad time there. And but I think when he did come at Dortmund were hovering around that 7th or 8th position. Now he's got them up to 2nd or 3rd, so he's doing well in the Bundesliga. But I just don't see him, being around United. And again, he's never managed in the Prem or any other league, pretty much outside of Germany. So he doesn't really fill me with any sort of confidence. So in the bin for me, Niko Kovac.
We'll put him in not quite there yet. Just I feel a bit harsh putting him in the bin. Let's go. There's two more lesser hit, and then we're on to the bigger hitters. So let's go for Kieran McKenna. Kieran McKenna obviously worked with Jose. He worked with Ollie. A lot of people saying a lot of the success under Ollie was down to him and Carrick, his style of coaching. Apparently, he's one of the most switched-on, intelligent coaches in the UK and maybe outside in Europe as well. Very, very young. Got Ipswich up in style. Obviously, they got relegated as soon as they came up. Has been at United, knows what it's about. It could be something, might be good. I might put him in there because I think there could be something there if he was given an opportunity. He seems like a bit of a guy to go with the flow as well, like work under that INEOS stewardship. They won't like making much waves and stuff like that. Yeah, what do you think, Nick, with Kieran McKenna?
McKenna's a weird one, isn't it? Because it's a very small sample size with Carrick, but since he's come in, obviously you can see the way we're playing instantly. I think Carrick did a good job at Middlesbrough as well. So if you're looking for anyone who's close to where McKenna's at, it's Michael Carrick. I think they're both good young British coaches who deserve an opportunity. And obviously the work that he did under Ollie and the way Ollie speaks about him is he's a top level coach. And even the players that he's developed at Ipswich as well, he's done a decent job. Again, it might be an unpopular opinion. I think he would be good. I do think he would fit the mould.
Okay.
yeah, that might go against the grain with a lot of people. I think he would be maybe good. I would put him in.
Yeah, that's
Which-
what I'm thinking.
Which people might think is crazy because then he's above Iarola, he's above
No, 'cause
Michael
he was-
Silva.
He was interviewed for the Chelsea job. Like, he was
Yeah.
very this close to getting the Chelsea job. I think we were interested in him. So it's not like he's not been near a top club before in terms of interest. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's out the realm of possibility. What do you think, Shreyas?
Yeah, I think he'd be a good fit. Personally, might be a good fit because he's been at the club for quite some time. I think at Ipswich he's done an exceptional job, and not just Chelsea, even Brighton were quite interested in him after De Zerbi left. So he
Yep.
was quite close to getting there as well. Just the thing is, it might be too big of a jump, but with him, I'd feel a bit more secure just because he knows what the expectations, and along with that, what sort of performances this club actually wants and this club actually expects, the fans expect. I think other than him right now, the managers we've discussed, they don't really know what it is to carry the weight of being the United manager and actually getting the players to play that way. He's been with Oli for quite some time, so he knows what he needs to do if he wants to make it at United. So for me, he might be a good choice.
Yeah, I think he's got good tactical intelligence as well. I think
Yeah.
he's a very, very smart guy. So I think that could potentially be to our advantage. Right, one more, and we get to the big hitters. Nick, your boy Enzo Maresca, you were very, very interested in him when he left Chelsea, and we were without a manager. Talk to me, like what is it you like about Maresca?
I like the football he plays. I really did. Obviously, we all know the fuckery that's going on at Chelsea at the moment. You can't get away from it.
Nobody can succeed at Chelsea under that.
Trying to manage under that is just an absolute piss take, really. But again, as soon as he went in straight away, he was very, very strong in how he wanted to go and what players he wanted. I mean, even some people said he went a little bit too far with like the Sterling stuff. And another bit saying like that they're not going to be a part of the squad. Simple as that. And you need a strong backbone to be a manager at United. The brand of football, again, possession-based 4-3-3, gets the best out of players. Really, really direct wingers, which I like, which United needs. You think about Pedro Neto at Chelsea, the way he was. Those kind of players. I don't know. There's something about him. I just think he's got that.
He's got the personality, hasn't he? He's got the personality.
Definitely, yeah. And obviously, he's been lined up by City. That's been something that's been mentioned. I'm not saying that's a reason just to go for someone, but there's certainly a lot of clubs that are interested in him. I really like him, I must admit. I think he'd be a good, solid choice for United, Maresca.
Shreyas, Nick mentioned the fact that City were interested in him. They did speak to him while he was at Chelsea. Do you think, that shows the quality that he has if someone like City is looking to replace Pep Guardiola?
I think besides City as well, I think he's a very sound manager. I think what he did at Chelsea, considering how Chelsea are run, is quite exceptional because with the makeshift backline, he was able to win the Club World Cup against a team like PSG, who I would still say is perhaps one of the best teams in Europe. And getting to beat them 3-0 is not easy, especially in a final. So he does have that sort of exposure when it comes to European football. Knows how to play against bigger oppositions and actually get the job done, play good football, and at the same time be attacking. It's not chaotic, it's quite organized, it's quite compact as well, and he plays a sustainable way of football. So I think he will be a good choice if United do end up going after Maresca.
He's also an easy get as well because he's out of work currently. You wouldn't have to wait after the World Cup. You don't have to negotiate with any clubs for any fees or anything. Like, he's available right now. So I think that helps quite a bit. Right, we put him in good choice. I'm just going to do one thing before we get into the big hitters. I'm just going to get him and put him in the bin. There we go.
Who's that?
Okay, that's Gareth Southgate. Just put him in the
You're
bin.
not even asking us now.
No, not even
Don't
bothering.
even get an opinion on it.
No, he's going in the bin. I'm not having it. Right. Maurizio Pochettino, a guy who is forever linked to a Manchester United. Like, he's been linked was it pre-Ten Hag? I think it was between him and Ten Hag, wasn't it? They were the choices at the time. He's obviously working now for the US men's national team. He's got the World Cup. I think his contract runs through the World Cup, so he won't be available till after that. He's been forever linked. He did a decent job at Southampton, did a really good job at Spurs, got him to a Champions League final, played some really, really good football. Went to PSG, so he's managed egos. He's managed top players. Obviously won the French league, but when you're at PSG, that's not really an achievement, I would say. I am not sold on him personally, but Nick, tell me, like, what are you thinking with Pochettino?
I think people shit on Poch a bit more than what he deserves, to be honest with you. Because I'm sure if you ask Tottenham fans how they feel about Poch, they're like, get him back to his fucking club immediately. And that's obviously based off the standards of Tottenham, so you don't really want to go back to that. But I think the job he did with them, he was keeping them in Champions League spots on not the best of budgets under Daniel Levy.
Probably should have won a league when Leicester won the league as well.
Let's have it. Apart from, I don't know about 80s, 70s and stuff, their best period really was under Poch. Like, and he maintained it as well. That final could have gone like either way. It was such a shit final.
It's terrible.
I think he's a competent manager. I think he's decent. I think the boat's slightly sailed on Poch at the minute, though, just because he's been out of football for so long and he's obviously international football now with America. He probably wouldn't even make top 5 for me if I'm going for one. But I don't think he's as bad as people make out. So
not quite there yet. Would you put? Or would it maybe good?
I'd put maybe good. I think maybe good. Yeah.
What do you think, Shreyas? What do you think, Pochettino?
I think he may be good, but it is just that, with the options that are available in the market right now, he's not someone who I would take a keen look at. I think with the options that you've got available, you can get someone more established. You can say someone more of a sure bet rather than Poch. I think Poch is still, I think again, with the way he plays, he can get the job done. But it's just that, with other managers being available at the same time, United could get a better, I would say, future going for someone else.
So maybe good in there or not quite there yet? Yeah,
maybe good.
Okay. Cool.
I like that.
Let's stick him in there. All right, big boys time. Carlo Ancelotti.
Sam, can I very quickly, just before you get to the big boys, who out of those ones that we've put in there do you think people might have a problem with in the comments or in our viewers? Do you think there's any controversial ones there?
Maybe Poch being that high, because like you said, a lot of people hate on Poch unnecessarily. But I don't think there's anything controversial there. And if you've got a problem with putting Southgate in the bin, then you can
there will
get
be
in the
someone.
bin.
Someone will say, it's disrespectful, England in the final. And
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
Sod off.
We didn't get a shout, so you know what I mean.
Carlo Ancelotti, Brazil manager. Obviously, we know what he did with Real Madrid. Legendary manager, has been all over the world, has won countless trophies, titles. Probably one of the most legendary managers still currently working. Is he the right fit for Manchester United, Nick?
This is tricky because I think he's an incredible manager. I think he's done everything in the game, multiple Champions Leagues, league titles. He was even a player, obviously, himself. But I think we would actually unanimously agree on this. He seems to be a manager of top players, like egos.
When they're already playing well, aren't
yeah,
they?
when they're already playing well, when you have a polished team, he's the guy to come in and keep them grounded and get the best out of them and work. I can't think of a managerial job of recent where he's gone in and you aren't top dogs. And the last time I think he's done that is Everton. Napoli, maybe. Yeah, when he was in there.
Well, Everton, as soon as Real Madrid came calling, he was out the fucking door, wasn't he?
Which, obviously you can't blame a man going from Everton to Real Madrid with all due respect. Sorry, Alex. But I think he's a good choice. But I just think the timing for United right now, that's why I wouldn't get him in. But he's an unbelievable manager, no doubt.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it, Shreyas? Like, obviously, he's there's not many better trophy-wise and titles-wise that he's done. But he doesn't fit in with United right now, so you can't really put him in not quite there yet. I would probably put him in might be good because depending on the circumstances, it might work. But I just think currently, I don't think it does. What do you think?
For me, I would get him in, personally.
Okay.
Reason being, what he's done really good throughout his career is whenever he's moved to clubs, he's had that sort of, personnel where the attack is oversaturated. There are too many attackers at the club. And he's been able to somehow, you can say, find a balance where all of those guys are able to not just get minutes, but they're able to perform at the best of their capabilities. Before Ancelotti came in through the door, Vinicius was a nobody at Madrid. People wanted him to be sold off. He was playing terribly at there, and the moment he came in, Vinicius started getting, double digits in both goals and assists. I think he's someone who can organize your team again, adaptability wise as well. He's there. He's done it all. He's won it all. Trophies wise, there's no one who can say that he's not won anything yet.
Mhm.
I just think that he's not a long term manager. Like, if you're thinking that he's going to stick around for like 5 seasons, he's not.
He's 74 in here, so it's Ancelotti,
Yeah.
I think. Can I add to that as well? Sorry.
Yeah.
This is a guy, I was just looking at the clubs. Juventus, Milan, Chelsea, PSG, Madrid, Bayern Munich, Brazil.
Anywhere there is a top club, he is managed.
He's managed.
Like, he's
and
been
done
there.
He's
well.
won everything
So
there. Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
obviously, a huge million feathers in the cap for that. I think, good choice.
So but is he going in good choice? I'd put him
You
in might
decide,
be
Sam.
good just because of the circumstance. You both saying might be good choice.
For me,
No,
it was get him in.
saying get him in.
And where are you going, Nick?
I say good choice.
All right, let's put him in good choice because I'd be
That's
might
in
be
between,
good, so
right?
that's in between.
Okay.
Right, Xavi. Other end of the spectrum, really. As a player, probably one of the best midfielders to ever play the game.
Absolutely.
Not very experienced when it comes to management. I think he managed in like Qatar before he went to Barca. Obviously, he did really well at Barca, sort of revolutionized the way they were playing, brought through so many youth players in Kabassi, Xavi, Pedro, Yamal, all those sort of guys. Plays exciting brand of football. Obviously, would garner respect if he came to United. Like, if you're a midfielder and there's Xavi Hernandez sitting across from you, you're going to listen to him. So I think his personality would fit. But does his lack of experience sort of stop him from being like one of the top choices?
Yeah, I think people always talk about Premier League proven players, but I think that INEOS are going to be very hesitant to go for a European manager unless it's a top dog. And obviously, Xavi did, really well, but he's at a club that he's familiar with, and it's at a club that he knows, which we've seen work with so many clubs before, which is why they always go back to that. With Xavi, I think United fans are going to need a lot of patience with him coming in with the brand of football that he wants to play, because we don't have hardly any of the players. I mean, he's working with the likes of Pedri, Gavi.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't think Messi was there at that time, but like these kind of players, we don't have that built in our culture. It's not necessarily our nature. United are like lightning attacking wingers, counter-attacking football at times, like, and then dominate the smaller teams. So I think it would be too much of a transitional period to bring him in personally. So I'd go maybe good with Xavi.
Maybe good.
Because I'm not absolutely totally convinced.
Where are you going, Shiraz?
Yeah, I'm not too convinced as well. And one of the reasons I'm not is because when he did end up leaving Barca, it was because he wasn't able to handle the stress of being at that sort of a club. And I think if someone cannot handle the stress of being, that sort of focal figure at the club, at United, I think it would, the criticism, the target, being the target of the media, it's only going to amplify more. There's nothing that the media loves more than a manager not able to do a, good enough job at United, or results not going their way. I think if he comes in, he may be good because, again, he he gets that respect, being the sort of player that he was during his day. I think if he comes in midfield wise, you'll see probably better control there. But again, I just don't think United are equipped well with the sort of possession. He's a possession style of a manager. United don't have those sort of players. We've got players who are quick on the transition, quick on the counter attacks.
But they treat the ball like a hot potato, don't they? That's
Yeah,
the issue.
exactly. So I just don't think that if he comes, I think if he comes, INEOS will have even a bigger burden on their hands, because they'll have to reinvest a lot into this team, get rid of a lot of players for him to actually succeed at the club. So I just don't think that he's the right choice.
So where are we going? Are we going might be good? Are we going
Not quite there yet.
Nick?
I put might be good.
Might be good. Right, let's put him in there then. Right, let's go to another from Xavi to Xabi. Xabi Alonso obviously did extremely well at Leverkusen. Has just been let go from Real Madrid. He had, by the way, he had a 74% win rate at Real Madrid, and he's been let go, which is insane to me. But player power at Real Madrid, they run the club as it is. Does his Liverpool connections hold him back from being a United manager, Nick?
Yeah, it's certainly a part of it, innit? I thought the work that he done in Germany with Leverkusen was unbelievable. But people, again, might get PTSD from back five and wing backs and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be another kind of stumbling block. At Madrid, it didn't go well, but I just think the ego's there. You've seen everything that's going on with Vinicius Jr. at the moment. It's just like...
The whole Ballon d'Or thing, that, we're not going because
Yeah.
he didn't win it. Like, come on, lads. Like,
That's why Ancelotti's so good, because he dealt with them
Yeah.
egos and got the best out of him. I don't know with Alonso. That's the one manager where I'm like, I think he could be... His stock before he went to Madrid, everyone wanted him. Now he's gone to Madrid, everyone's kind of like, not too sure. And Madrid being the same size as United, let's be honest, like top 3 clubs in the world.
Yeah.
Are you going to see a similar thing? Or we've kind of got a better culture at United, I'd say. So you probably get more out of the players. I think Alonso's a good choice.
Good choice. Where are you feeling, Shreyas? Might be good, or is he in good choice?
I just think that because of a Liverpool pass, he won't be able to ever take this job. But I think as a manager, he's very good. I think he'd be a good choice. I think with the way he plays, it's quite different. But at the same time, he's again quite an adaptable manager. Primarily he played a back 3. Then he transitioned to a back 4, played a diamond sometimes, played a 4-3-3. Played a 4-4-2 at times, so he's quite adaptable, knows how to, you can say, react to different sort of oppositions. But I just don't see him at United. I think, considering Slot leaves, I think Liverpool might actually take him up next season.
Possible. Yeah, it's possible.
Didn't Samat Busby play for like City and Liverpool though? Like I know it was a long time ago.
Yeah, he did.
With managers, I feel like you're always going to get. I mean, Ancelotti and Maresca managed Chelsea, and I know they're not direct rivals, but I think you're always going to stumble across that at some point. To be fair, and Xabi Alonso was in. If it was Gerrard, then you're like,
obviously,
that's different. I think Xabi Alonso's slightly different to that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
plus the fact that Gerrard is a very shit manager.
Yes, well, that as
true.
well. Yeah. That's number one option why you would.
So is he going? He might be good. Good choice. Where are we going?
I personally, good choice for me.
For me as well.
Good choice. Okay, let's put him in there. Next one, Luis Enrique.
Get him in.
Surely, Nick's going. Get him in straight away.
Yeah,
Shreyas,
get him in.
Get him in.
Arguably the best manager in Europe right now. Absolutely plays scintillating fucking football at PSG. Finally, after how many years have Qatar been there, it got win the Champions League. Plays absolutely blistering, dominating working football. Their players work their asses off for him. He is. If he's available, I think you have to go after him.
Yeah.
Is wherever you want to go with this conversation with Luis Enrique, right? I mean, he won a treble at Barcelona. I think he won a treble at PSG as well in their domestic cups and obviously Champions League or what have you. The brand of football that the guy plays, the way they press from the front, the way they keep hold of the ball, the way he improves younger players. Like, obviously, you look at PSG's model now, they've gone completely away from the Galactico model and gone with, we're getting young talents in, Nuno Mendes, João Neves, these kind of guys, Vitinho, and has just improved them significantly. I mean, Ousmane Dembele has just won a fucking Ballon d'Or under Enrique. Dembele, who everyone had wrote off at Barcelona and said wasn't good enough, has just won a Ballon d'Or under Luis Enrique. So you go any way you want with it, and there's nothing you could say why there's not a reason to put him in the get him in category for me. He's an unbelievable manager.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to put him in a good choice now, and then we're going to each of us pick our one manager to get in from the good choice category. That's all right, good. And then we'll start. So let's put him in there. Can we put him in the front? Let's move De Zerbi. There we go. Right, we'll put him there. But yeah, speak about Enrique if you want, Shreyas, like if we haven't mentioned anything that you think is definitely important to hear.
I mean, pretty much, again, a very adaptable manager, and the style of football he just plays, it's beautiful to see. And with the players that, he makes it work as well, these players, all of them weren't rated that highly when they did, make that move to PSG. I mean, Vitinha was not considered that big of a talent. I mean, he was considered, a young player who failed in the Prem at Wolves. And now that he's gone to PSG, he's arguably one of the best midfielders in Europe right now. I still remember when Kvaratskhelia was playing at Napoli, a lot of teams were interested in his signature and people didn't understand why he made that transition to PSG. but within 6 months he won possibly everything there is to win. So the players that he's worked with, I think it's uh, quite interesting, because just after losing a player like Mbappe, people didn't expect PSG to turn up the way they did last year. And Dembele again ultimately winning the Ballon d'Or, playing as a number 9. People never even rated him as a winger, pretty much because of his injury concerns. So I think he's someone, if he does become available, United should go all out for getting him in.
Think about the clubs he's been at as well. PSG and Barcelona. They've gone from being at PSG. Okay, you're a manager now under a model who's going to throw a lot of money at players. Okay, now you're a manager who we're going to go for younger players, and you've got to develop him. Barcelona's always been about developing young talents, but also they bring in expensive players as well. So whichever way you want to go, what your philosophy is as a club, I think he's just a perfect fit. He really is.
I think the fact that he won 2 trebles with 2 different teams, like you said, develop young talent.
And won FIFA's best men's coach as well, by the way.
And he was also a really top player as well. So it's like he understands that side of the game as well, which you don't have to have as a great coach, but it definitely is an advantage. So he's up there. Right, let's talk about your boy, Nick. Thomas Tuchel.
Whoa. Have we put Enrique in good choice?
Yeah, we're going to put everyone good choice, and then we're all going to pick get him in.
Right, okay. Sorry, choice, I thought you was putting them all and get him in.
No. So wait. So people watching, wait to the end, and then we're all going to pick our individual number 1 choice who's going to get him in. So we'll go to that. Your boy, Thomas Tuchel, current England manager, has gotten playing some really nice football eventually. Fantastic experience at Chelsea, won the Champions League. Fantastic experience at PSG. He's been at Dortmund. He's been at Bayern. This guy has been everywhere, and he's a fucking winner. Tactically adaptable, very hard to break down and sort of score goals against him. I think he's got the personality. He's fiery. Yeah. Is there any reason why we shouldn't be looking at Thomas Tuchel?
I think the only knock against Tuchel is he's more of a tournament manager than he is a league manager, so he's more able to do it in knockout phases and stuff rather than kind of long term. But I even still think like the way he did it in the final against Man City with the players that he had, I'm pretty sure in the team at the time he had Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, Mason Mount, like good players, but they're not, in my opinion, they're not Champions League winning type of players. So again, the ability to show that you can get the best out of the players, and outdid Pep in the final as well.
He did.
So there's something to kind of again a feather in his cap. But everywhere he's been, like with other managers we mentioned, he has won. He's been in France, won league titles and cups. Germany, league titles and cups. Champions League with Chelsea. I think he's straight away. You can see the impact he's had at England instantly.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just more of that, and it's weird because people have a problem with the fact that he's a German coach and being at England, but you can already see the steel and the resilience straight away, the effect that he's had in comparison to Southgate. That's why I'm so impressed with him, because as soon as he goes in, he has an effect. And I think what do United need right now? They need someone to come in and show instant results and something that the fans can get behind, and that's why I think Tuchel will do that. But you mentioned it before as well, the fractious relationship that he's had with players. I don't think he'd mesh well with INEOS. That's the only thing I'd say. So
he's fallen out with the PSG board. He fell out with the Bayern Munich board. Yeah. But he's fallen out with Chelsea board.
And he won't get that at INEOS.
Yeah.
So
is that a worry for you, Shreyas? The fact that he is an all control, all sort of I want everything my way manager, or is it worth the risk just because of how good he is?
I think it is definitely a big risk, and again, considering he's not been at a club more than 2.5 seasons, it's not something that you can, go on and reflect that, he's going to be around for a long term. He's again a short-term manager. So I think what he does guarantee you is defensive stability. He does offer you that sort of, organization in the midfield as well. I think when he's done it at every single club that he's been in, that defensively all those teams have been solid. Chelsea were all over the place before he got in, and after that, with the way they played and how the defense operated, they were perhaps one of the best defensively solid teams in Europe at that sort of time. Apart from that as well, I think one thing that does not reflect good for him is, Xabi Alonso having that season with Leverkusen while he was at the job at Bayern Munich, and ultimately losing that league title to Leverkusen in the fashion that Bayern Munich did. But I think besides that, he's got a couple of players he already knows in this team, in Mazraoui as well as De Ligt. De Ligt got his confidence back under Tuchel.
Got
Playing.
Mason Mount as
Yeah.
well. He knows very well.
So he does have players he has connections within this team, but again, not a long-term manager. I think but definitely if he comes in, he's going to bring a lot of that sort of steel in that back line. And apart from that, I would also say he's going to bring a lot of balance into the team.
Yeah, I'm going to put him in good choice because I think that he is a good choice. So I'm going to stick him in there. Let's go to your boy then, Shreyas. Julian Nagelsmann. Tell me about
Get him.
Julian Nagelsmann. Like what? Yeah, I know he's get him in. I know that. But talk to me like why we should get him in. Like what is it you like about him?
I just think he's very close to how we want to play football, how United wants to play football, counter-attacking football, and at the same time, not a team that is built to play just a singular sort of way. He's a manager who knows how to, if you want to play in and out of possession, he knows how to do that. If you want to play a counter-attacking style of just, absorbing pressure and then, or even counter-pressuring teams, he's pretty sound in all those departments, knows how to work with younger talents. And apart from that, defensively solid, midfield wise, knows how to make the best of what all he's got. And he's done brilliant jobs wherever he's been at. Even at Leipzig, he did exceptionally well. Then moving on from there to Bayern, the only reason he was removed from the Bayern job was because Bayern didn't
fell
want
out.
Tuchel to move to Madrid at that point.
Yeah.
So that was the only reason. And then he moved on to the national team, had, at the time, it was between Amorim and Nagelsmann when we went with Amorim. But again, after that, in the Euros with Musiala and Wirtz, he again had a very good tournament with Germany. But I think out of all the managers present, he's someone, again, he's a long-term manager, but at the same time, I can see us having a much safer future with someone like Nagelsmann.
Yeah, I really, really like Nagelsmann. I'm just looking at some stats. So at Leipzig, 95 games, 54 wins, 22 draws, 19 losses. Average points per game, 1.94. Bayern Munich, 84 games, 60 wins, 14 draws, 10 losses. Points, 2.31 points per game. Plays a 4-2-3-1, but is obviously very flexible. 57% win rate. He's young as well. He's 38. I think he's only on the way up. He would be I think he would be my number one choice if I was asked and like put a gun to my head. He is a phenomenal manager. Nick, what do you think about Julian Nagelsmann?
He's obviously a super intelligent coach. You look at how flexible his teams are at times in game. I mean, they can literally shapeshift to different, depending on whatever team it is that they're playing. So he's obviously intelligent. He's obviously really good with young players. Some of the players he's give opportunities to at Leipzig, like some Sabitzer and Werner and people like that. Obviously, he's good in that regard. The only thing I'd say, a big club, it didn't really go well at Bayern Munich, did it? It was kind of butting heads there over certain things, managing big egos, managing expectations. He struggled a little bit with at Bayern Munich. So I think he's, again, this might be controversial, I think he's a top coach at a team who would be fighting Champions League football, and maybe that's where we're at the moment. But if you're talking very top of the tree, the likes of Enrique and Tuchel, I don't think he's there. So I would put him a bracket below that.
Fair enough.
Maybe good, I would go.
Final one, who is the current interim manager, not manager, head coach at Manchester United, Michael Carrick. Now, obviously, the basis we have for Michael Carrick is a very short window. The 3 games he was at previously when he was interim manager and the City game. Now, obviously, I saw reports where they said the only way he gets the job is if he does spectacularly well. And to be spectacularly well is get into the Champions League and win the majority of your games that you've got. I think we've got like 14, 15 games left.
Yeah.
He probably has to win, 10 to 12 of those?
Yeah.
Like, I think that would what he'd have to do to get the job. So obviously, he's either going to go from, yes, absolutely, you have to get him in because of the job he's done, or it's not going to be good enough and he's not going to be there. Where are you putting him, Nick? Just sort of like the sort of feeling that you get from him. Like, where are you going to put him?
I'm very cautious about it, as I'm sure you lads are as well.
Yes.
That the whole Ollie thing and the situation, like the guy could now get the same again and get a 75% win rate, but it's different when you come in and you can just let the shackles off and play football, that's fine. But okay, let's say they get Champions League football next season. He's managed once in Europe before in the Champions League. And when you're coming up against coaches like Ancelotti, Luis Enrique, and these guys, is he going to be able to compete? Some people might say, well, in the 4 games against Arteta, Emery, Pep, and he's done really, really well. And that's fine. They're Premier League managers. Can he do it in Europe? That would be my worry.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually that good feeling about him at the moment will wear off, and he won't get as much time as he did when he first came in. So I'm worried about them giving it him on a long-term basis. I even still think if he does really, really well, I'd be very hesitant to give him a 3-4 year contract, depending on. But if INEOS are confident in it, I think the recruitment is much better now than it was under Ole. So it'd be something that I wouldn't go against, but he wouldn't be number 1, 2, or 3 choice. I just like element of worry for me.
Is he going in? Might be good, Shreyas, just because he's unknown at this point.
Yeah, because again, Ollie had that thing of going on unbeaten streaks. I remember we went on like a 16 or 17 game unbeaten streak and made into Champions League football under Ollie. But we know how it ended. Not to say with Carrick, if he does end up staying, it'll end up the same way. But I think it's a big gamble if you stick with him. But again, I think it becomes very tough on the management side as well, because if it does happen that Carrick is able to win 10 to 11 games now till the end of the season, and then this hiring job comes on, that do we stick with him or do we go with someone else? I think INEOS will be under tons of pressure just to make the right call, and I just don't feel confident in INEOS itself to make the right move, because when they get pressured by fans, they do seem to make all that fans want to make. That's the only reason why Ten Hag actually ended up staying at the job and wasn't actually sacked in the summer itself. So I think there is still a lot more that we need to see from Carrick, because again the sample size is quite low. I think that first game was a breath of fresh air for sure with the way we played, but let's just see on a continued basis. But I think he falls for me in the maybe good choice as well.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. Right. It's final big decision from the lads. Who is their number 1 choice? And let us know in the comments who your number 1 guy is. Is it any of these guys we've mentioned today? Is it a guy who we've not mentioned? Maybe it's Unai Emery, who's I've not seen any links, but maybe it's him that you want to come to Manchester United. Let us know in the comments who your guy is. Nick, I'm going to ask you to pick one of the guys from Good Choice that we have to. If they came to you and were like, who are we making Manchester United permanent head coach in the summer? You've got to pick one. Who are you going with? If Tuchel won the World Cup, would that change things? Yeah. All right. Enrique. I've got a feeling who I think you're going to picture as, but yeah, go surprise me if it's somebody else.
No, I mean, Enrique is the obvious choice. First, like as a first choice, he is the obvious one with the way things are at the moment presently. But if not him, Nagelsmann would be my second pick, because again, young, but at the same time just admire the way he plays football. And I think if he is able to build that brand of football at United, I think I would be quite glad to see that. And again, if he's able to attract some sort of talent the way he did at Leipzig, if he is able to do it at United, and all of those players which he did,
you got Vivel there, so
exactly,
he's got a working
and he's
relationship.
worked. It is a good combination. So I think if he does come in, we'll be able to see a better future.
Yeah, I agree. Like Nagelsmann would be my number 1 choice. I definitely love Luis Enrique. I think you've got to put Tuchel in there as well.
Yeah,
because I think he might end up being the guy if he doesn't win the World Cup. I think that's the guy they end up going with. So I think that's would be your top 3 personally. But yeah, let us know in the comments if you feel differently, if you feel like we've missed somebody out, or you feel like some of these guys need to be a bit higher. Yeah, lads, really enjoyed that. I don't know about you, but I feel a bit better about our managerial choices. Is there any? Yeah, don't hold us to it. Don't hold us to it when they change their minds and go for somebody completely different, and we end up in a different position. But yeah, a bit of a longer video, but I felt like we needed to get into the nitty gritty and get into stuff and go through the manager choices. Let us know, like I said in the comments, what you think. Let us know if we're idiots or we're speaking any sense, because I'm sure you will. We will be doing we played Arsenal preview on Friday, the Chivy Derby, and we will have Jay Motti on the channel tomorrow evening as well. So please do come join us for that. Nick, do you want to talk about the merch and all that sort of shite? Yes. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thank you two lads for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Yeah. Drop us a thing in the comments. We always like interacting with you guys. And yeah, subscribe if you're new here. If you just come across this video and like, who are these dickheads, please do drop a subscribe. We're always dropping more videos like this.